Why are people freaking out about the coronavirus? According to the mainstream media, it's just a flu, right? Recently, I have seen this image circulating on social media. As you can see, it says that coronavirus is the most dangerous virus that exists, but the common flu kills 60 times more people annually than corona. So we shouldn't be scared, right? I have seen this narrative all over the internet this past week, comparing the coronavirus with the common cold or flu. Let's take a look at why that's not true. Although the data is only just coming in, recent studies such as this one from Zhao have shown that the coronavirus has an R naught of between 2 and 4. One very recent study even put this figure at 4.08. This means that for every one person who catches the coronavirus without any quarantine measures put in place, they will go on to infect 4.08 other people. The flu, on the other hand, has an R naught of about 1.3. This is why you are seeing such an exponential growth of this virus. Even with the draconian quarantine measures put in place by China, this virus is incredibly contagious, which is just one reason we need to be aware of it and not brush it off as just a flu. To spread this kind of narrative is irresponsible on the part of the mainstream media, but I think it is being done on purpose to avoid panic. To be quite honest, I think governments are very worried about their ability to contain the spread of this virus. I mean, if communist China, with all their police and dystopian mechanisms of control, can't, how will the rest of the world fare? We then go on to see this image say that only 2% of victims succumb to the virus, and usually they are old or have a weak immune system. Even if we go off the official figures from the CCP, we can see that the death rate is somewhere around 2.5%. But China, like all communist countries, is known to lie about statistics like these to avoid losing face. We can see a lot of content online at the moment discussing this. For example, one estimate by the University of Hong Kong, put out over a week ago, said that the total infected could be 44,000 at that time. However, the official numbers coming out of China were only around 2,000. There are also reports coming out of China of bodies being burned at a record pace, and deaths due to the coronavirus being recorded as something else to bring the death toll down on paper. In one study of the initially infected 41 patients from Wuhan who first exhibited symptoms of the virus, the death rate in this pool was shown to be around 15%, with 6 of the original 41 patients succumbing to the disease. This would put the death rate of the coronavirus above that of SARS, along with a higher rate of contagiousness. Although this is very early data, many studies that have come out in the past month have put the fatality rate well above 2%. We also saw this with SARS, where the death rate was originally believed to be 4%, but then by the end of the pandemic was shown to be around 10%. In the next segment of this image, we see that you don't need to buy face masks, and that washing your hands and sneezing into your elbow is best practice. This kind of reminds me of those videos they did during the Cold War, telling kids to duck and cover if there's a nuclear explosion. Although washing your hands is of course great practice when we have pandemics, the precautions taken in Asia during the SARS pandemic, and so far in this pandemic, show that we need to do a bit more than just wash our hands. Wearing a face mask, contrary to popular belief, actually does prevent you from catching viruses, with this study showing an effectiveness of 85% for the N95 masks that doctors often wear around people in quarantine, and an effectiveness of 33% for the cheaper surgical masks that you often see sold in bulk packs. I don't know why there is a narrative being pushed in Western countries that these masks are not worth wearing, but the science shows us they can be very effective, and you're not doing yourself any harm by wearing them if you feel you need to. Then we see the image say that panicking about the virus and blaming the Chinese is more dangerous than the virus itself. It even says that racism is more dangerous than the coronavirus. Try telling that one to the people of Wuhan. Although I agree that there is a lot of nasty rhetoric going around about the eating habits of Chinese people, and that racism like this is not cool, we really can't compare this to the potential harm that this virus may end up causing for the Chinese people. Although blaming the Chinese people for this virus is a very stupid and naive thing to do, I think we can blame one group of Chinese people, and that is the Chinese Communist Party. Reports of this virus began surfacing in early to mid-December, but according to the World Health Organization, it didn't surface until the 31st of December. and it didn't become widely known until about January 23rd, when the city of Wuhan, population 11 million, was locked down. It is clear that just like the Soviets with Chernobyl, the CCP tried to cover up this epidemic to try and save face, but it has ended up making the situation in China much, much worse. There are even some theories online about the origin of this virus, which may explain why the CCP initially tried to cover it up. However, I will not discuss this for now. Finally, we see the image say that you should not believe everything you read about the coronavirus online. They say to check for references. This is fair enough, and I will leave all of the citations for this video in the description below. They are mostly from scientific papers coming out of China at the moment, which I assume are reliable sources. This is another message I have seen propagated online recently, that we should only believe information if it is from the World Health Organization or from a local district health board. We see these recurring messages around the virus outbreak. Don't panic, it's just the flu. The death rate is low. Don't worry. You don't need to buy a mask or take any precautions. I'm not saying you need to panic, but there is nothing wrong with doing your own research and being aware of the facts given to us by doctors and health professionals. As I read this, there have been over 20,000 confirmed cases of the coronavirus reported as of today, with over 400 deaths. My only question to the media and governments is, if we don't need to worry, why do you keep telling us that? Is there something you're not telling us?